Hey guys, this is Brian from thetruthaboutwatches.com, here with you today reviewing the Invicta 5850 Russian Diver GMT. This is probably one of my favorite watches of all time. It's one that I definitely looked at online and had some second thoughts about buying it. It is extremely large. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get a good comparison here on my wrist for you, but as you can see there, it's pretty big. It is 52 millimeters across without the canteen. With the canteen, it's 58 millimeters. The pusher here at 2 o'clock is for the red Gmt hand. I've had a couple questions about that. Something else everybody always asks before I get started, really. These silver things really have no function whatsoever. They're just decoration. I guess they're supposed to look like old school dive weights. A couple quick notes also here. The buckle is signed with Invicta's little wings logo. It's pretty cool. Also, this rubber band is, let's see if I can show you here, is extremely rigid, which is not necessarily a bad thing for how heavy the watch is. It just gets a little bit uncomfortable to wear for long periods of time. One of my favorite things is the case back inscription. And it says, "Between the devil and the deep blue sea, come hell or high water." It's an Invicta Russian Diver, 1959. Just a really cool kind of, nerdy thing on there that I can get a kick out of. Also, a really cool feature on the GMT models is the little pinwheel second hand that's ticking there. And it's one of the only 3 things on this dial to have loom on it, but I just feel like the pinwheel is a really cool touch. You can see behind the perforated dial, possibly in this video, is what looks like a white sandwich, a sandwich dial, and it's actually the date wheel, which is inside of the 6. It's kind of hard to see in the video, I'm sure, but in the little circle in the bottom of the 6 is the date. In the silver ring around the outside are the GMT numbers, and let's see here, if I show you the back one more time, it's only 100 meters water resist, which is kind of strange, being as how it's called the Russian Diver, but I don't ever go that far anyway, so I'm not worried about it. This is what everybody always wants to see, so we'll take this off here. It is extremely smooth, and that of course exposes the crown. Of course, it's a quartz movement made by ISA, so it does hack. As soon as you pull this out, it'll stop. I'm not going to do it now. This watch has been running for, I believe, 4 months and has not lost a second against my atomic clock. So I'm not going to change that. This chain, I won't lie to you, it gets very irritating when you wear this watch. And I might be a little more OCD than some people, but I'll show you why it bothers me. And again, this thing screws on really smoothly, just no resistance at all. When you're wearing this watch on your wrist, this little band has a tendency to kick up underneath the watch, which I can't really replicate now, of course. Slides up underneath the watch kind of like that. And what scares me a little bit is that this chain is going to end up scratching the finish. So I usually end up looping it over the top of the canteen there, and I wear it like that. I did have a jeweler cut off the chain on one of my other Russian divers. I just happen to like the stainless steel on this one. I don't want to do it to it. You can see the dial is pretty deep set in this case. Excuse me. It's pretty thick. Also, Invicta has, of course, put their name on the side of it. They love to show you who made it. This watch is retails for somewhere in the neighborhood of $150 to $225. If you're seeing a price higher than that, I would probably stay away from it. Not that it's a bad watch, I just think that's probably about what it's worth. Again, it has kept incredibly accurate time for the ISA movement. Some of the GMT Invicta Russian divers use Ronda. I've heard mixed reports that this watch does or doesn't use a Ronda. I don't really have any way to verify it because I'm not going to take it apart. I just don't really care that much. As you can see, the lugs are pretty big and pretty well spaced. I'm eventually going to put this on a NATO strap, only because this band gets really irritating to wear for a long time. So let's go ahead and fire the loom up. I'm going to use my typical 3-watt LED. This watch does use Invicta's Trinite compound, which I'm really not impressed with at all. The only exception is probably the 60/30 lume dial, and even then it's pretty pitiful. I'm gonna kill the lights real quick. And you can see the minute hand and the hour hand and the second hand, and that's about all you get. I'll fire it up here one more time real quick just to get a little bit better lume in there. I usually give them about 10 to 15 seconds. But again, this one's not really anything super fancy to look at, just 3 things light up. But the lume's not terrible. I would say that all in all, it'll probably maintain this brightness for, yeah, give or take about 2 hours. If you let it sit in the sun for 3 to 4 hours, you can usually get about the same time out of it, 3 to 4 hours. But just having the couple hands light up has not been really functional for me, but I will admit that I don't really wear this at night because I'm afraid of banging it into things. The GMT hand works flawlessly. A couple people have noted, I noticed on Amazon, they got these watches and they say, oh, the second hand doesn't work. Well, the second hand's in the pinwheel. That red thing's not the second hand. Obviously, it's the GMT hand. So it only moves about 1 second, it only moves about 2 to 3 seconds per hour on the dial. And of course, they're not seconds, they're hours. But if you were looking at it as a second hand, it wouldn't be working properly. Again, it does move with this pusher here. There's no screw in or screw out. It just appears that there is. There's no turning bezel. This is just for decoration. And again, I'd say for the price, you really can't go wrong. They're not big enough to be silly. I mean, I wouldn't want to go much bigger than this, but this size is definitely reasonable. If you check the truthaboutwatches.com, you can see a couple of better still wrist shots than I can get on the video here. Again, it's not outrageous. I would say that if you're used to wearing 40 or 42 millimeter watches, you'll probably feel a little silly when you put this on. There is one thing to note that people may or may not dissuade you from buying it. Because of the massive canteen here on the side, when you wear this watch on your wrist, I'm going to put the watch down for just 1 second. Ordinarily, I wear my watches somewhere in this area here. The Russian diver has to wear a little bit further up the wrist, otherwise this canteen ends up, if I can turn my hand, digging into the back of your wrist when you move your hand. Again, it is somewhat annoying, but it just is easily dealt with by wearing the watch further up on your wrist. I would say this is one of the better offerings from Invicta. This is my 5th Russian diver. I have 4 that are quartz and 1 that's mechanical. I love all of them. I wear them constantly. This is probably one of the most worn watches that I have. You can't really see in the video, I'm sure, but the bezel's a little bit scratched. I do wear it all the time. It just is phenomenal. Total eye catcher. Everywhere I go, someone always has to ask me what's going on. Oh my goodness, look how big that watch is. Or they'll comment on the canteen here. It's usually the first question they ask. What's the little chain for? I really have no idea, so I usually make up some really cool story about a Russian submarine. Don't tell anybody I said that, please. The only other thing I'll note that gets a little bit annoying is the band here is so short on these Russian divers, on all of them, that when you actually get it tightened to your wrist, these 2 band keepers are impossible to manipulate. It's not really a complaint so much as it is just a strange thing with the watch, but as you can see, this band is really short. It's not going to go much wider than this here. And I've got a friend who has an 8.1 inch wrist, and this almost exactly fits his wrist. So it goes from 8.1 to probably not quite Barbie sized, but getting there. I have a 7.2 inch wrist, and I really feel like this watch looks perfectly fine on me. I would say if you like the design of this watch, and you're one of those people like me that continues to click on it online and look at it, you just should go ahead and buy it. They're really cool watches, and they do hold their value pretty well. All of the ones that I've sold, I sold for within $10 or $20 of what I paid for them, so it'd be a safe investment to give it a shot and check it out. You really can't go wrong. It's an awesome watch, total eye turner. The blue dial is fantastic. This particular model comes in blue and black. The black has white numbers on a black dial with a red GMT hand, also very cool. There's also a stealth version, which is it's all black with like a checkered dial. They're pretty cool. You can check them out on Amazon. Amazon did give me a 5-year extension with this watch on the warranty. So it's a 6-year warranty on the $175 watch, I'll take it. Again, for me, it's another winner from Invicta, and yet to have any problems with this one or the other four that I have. So I guess that's about it, and that's all for today. We'll see you guys next time.